How you doing, guys? I've calmed down, and basically what I did was I blew apart that K90 that I had on the tractor originally, just to see what was going on. And ultimately, I had a lot of oil sitting on top of the piston. It's actually, I don't know if it's still. I mean, this thing. Actually, yeah, I wiped it down. I mean, this thing was just covered in oil. So it was blowing oil past the rings pretty bad. The intake valve and like the exhaust valves, they were dry. So it wasn't blowing oil up through the exhaust, or excuse me, through the valve guides. So the piston rings are quite worn. So, and you can see the gap, even though it's not in the bore, you can see the gap's pretty wide. So, the crank looks real nice. I just got to mic the not the journal, but the crank pin. But it looks like there's no real marks, no wear on that, so it's good. So it looks like it was a ring problem. So I ordered a new piston and a Stens ring kit for it. I think together it was like $30. Gasket kit. I actually got 2 new valves for it, and I'll use my New Way cutter to cut the valve seats, and then lap them in and do the valve lash. I already had a new crank seal for the block side, which was needed because the original seal was leaking oil like a sieve. Obviously, there's no need to redo the ignition system because all these parts are brand new. And it worked. It fired real good. In my prior video, I said how I had to basically shave the coil down in order to get it to fit into the motor. And as we can see, there was no issue with that either. This thing's mint. So the ignition system, the flywheel, all that stuff is just going to get reused. The brand new points are right here. I'm just going to clean them up, re-gap them, obviously, when I put it together. The bearing plate is in good shape as it was. I got a new seal coming. The bearings, all the bearings seem to be real nice. This one, this one here is the block bearing, and then I got to press out the bearing here in the bearing plate to clean it all up and get it all good. So we're going to do a quickie rebuild on it. Over here in the parts washer, I got the block. The bore is actually in really good shape now. I should say there was some rust in this bore, and I hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad. But in general, I don't know if I can get see if I can get a good picture of this. I guess it's getting it the right. Well, ultimately, the bore is in real good shape. Let me leave it at that. Okay. There's no ridge, front or back. There's no scores. You can't really see. It looks like there's a score there, but there isn't. There's no scores. It's just real nice. It is glazed over. So we're gonna just give that a quick hone, and we'll get the new piston and the new rings in there. I got my New Way valve cutter for this, so I've cut 2 new valves. I'm gonna clean all the ports out because they got some rust and stuff like that in them. So we'll clean all that up, get that real nice, and I'm going to actually sandblast the block real quick in my sandblaster, and I'm going to paint it. And I'll do the deck surface up real nice with a cookie wheel, and then so I'll blast it first. Then I'll clean up the deck. I'll cut the valves and hone it, either one. Then put the valves in, lap those in, get those all in there, and then we'll prime and paint the motor. And then I think I'm actually going to take the motor and put it back on the tractor. And the reason why is this. I started up this other K91 that I have. Runs great, ran great, no smoke, no knocks, no dings, but it seems to have a hum. And I took a stick and listened around on it when the engine was running, and I think the hum is actually coming from the bearing, the crank bearing on the bearing plate side. So I don't know. I'm going to run it. I don't care if it blows up. I'll just rebuild it or get a different one. But essentially, it's in there. I'm going to have a running and driving video of this one shortly because it did run really good and was a lot of fun to ride. So, all right. So we got a couple projects going. We're going to finish up this RJ, and then I'll have a couple videos on the rebuild of this K90 over the next couple weeks. I'm going to actually kind of rush this, not rush the rebuild, but I'm going to move along quickly on the rebuild because I want to get this motor back on the tractor and broken in and all the bugs worked out before I head off to the WheelHorse show, which is not until the end of June, but it's only about 8 weeks away. So there's only about 6 to 8 weekends. I got some stuff going on. You got to get the garden going, working on the garden and stuff like that too. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. And next up, maybe a little honing and valve cutting on this K90. All right, bye.